What's going on, guys? Good Mike War Commentaries back at you, and here we go with your AEW All In 2024 predictions. Now, there's a couple of things to mention right up front. I am recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Dynamite has already been taped in Cardiff. I kind of read some soft spoilers for the show, got a general idea of what we're going to see on Wednesday night when Dynamite airs. I kind of wanted to get those results before I finished off my full predictions. Now that I've seen those results, it's really not going to sway my decisions here too much, but I definitely wanted to wait and see what happened on Dynamite. That show is going to be airing tonight, so when this video is uploaded on Thursday, you guys will have all seen that and seen some of these results, which we will be talking about a little bit as we go through our predictions here. Also, there is some news that we might be getting in the next couple of days as well regarding AEW and Warner Brothers Discovery's media rights deal. Apparently, that deal is just about done. Several offers apparently have been made to AEW. Warner Brothers Discovery officials are now, and sources are saying that it's just a matter of some more red tape. A deal should be done here within a matter of days, so we will keep our eye on that, and we'll see if Tony Khan wants to attach that announcement and finalize that deal with AEW All In taking place, since this is going to be a very big weekend for the company. So we'll see how all of that shakes out. Does look like a deal is imminent. Tony Khan was even spotted wearing an HBO Max or a Max hat, and we've all been hoping that whenever a deal does get done, that it does include some type of streaming availability for AEW on Max. So let's hope that we hear that information within the next day or two, and maybe even if we're lucky, by the time this video drops on YouTube. But we are here primarily just to discuss All In and predict the show. I believe by my count, I have about 9 matches. I think 10 if you include the 0 hour, with potentially an extra match being stuck on there somewhere, or maybe some sort of surprise appearance or a return or something like that. We will have to see. But as it stands right now, I believe I have 10 total matches, and that's what we're going to be predicting here today. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this, because this is a pretty big card and there is a lot to discuss. Now, we've got to start with this hilarious looking 0 hour mixed tag team match. It's going to be Willow Nightingale teaming up with Tomohiro Ishii, Jesus, taking on Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway, the Stokester. This is the mismatch of all mismatches here. I mean, Willow and Stat are a little bit more evenly matched, of course, but Stokely and Ishii, I don't know what to expect out of them. I'm expecting this match to be entertaining as all hell, and a good way to get the semi-full crowd in Wembley right ready to go and riled up for the show. I'm picking the baby faces here all the way. Willow and Ishii should get the win here over Stat and Stoke. But you never know. They could throw a curveball at you, but I got to go Willow and Ishii all the way. Main card. In terms of the main card, now this is the only 0 hour match I know of, so they might add another one. I think there was more than one last year, so we might get some more 0 hour matches announced than what I have here. They might even announce one, or they might have announced one on Dynamite last night, but like I said, I've only seen the spoilers so far. They're also in the process of taping Collision right now, so I still don't know who that fourth team in the trios match is going to be. Don't really know that either, and it's possible they could add a match on the 0 hour as well, but this is all I have that I've seen so far for that. But when it comes to the main card, I think we need to start with the Casino Battle Royal, and this one is really difficult to predict because I don't know who's in it. Now, granted, Collision is being taped right now. I didn't read all of the Dynamite spoilers, so we could have some names added to this, but the only name I've seen so far as of me recording this has been Orange Cassidy. And if this is going to be a battle royal with the winner getting a future AEW title shot, it's hard to predict it when you don't know who the participants are. So a lot of people have been talking about a surprise, and I think it would be great if a Ricochet were to show up, or even a Bobby Lashley. Now, I think a Bobby Lashley might be a little bit more fun, because one problem I have with bringing in a fresh talent to win this thing is that you're giving that fresh talent a world championship shot right when they come in the door. I'm not sure if that would be such a good use for Ricochet, but it might be for Bobby Lashley, who's what, is he late 40s, 50 years old now? He has been a world champion recently, multi-time world champion. He's still a very credible athlete and star who would maybe make a little bit more sense getting a championship shot right out of the gate coming into AEW than Ricochet. But it might not be a surprise at all. It could be somebody currently on the roster. And you got to think that I'm kind of getting confused how many title shots are going around, because didn't Darby Allin just earn a championship match as well? Didn't he earn like the TNT title shot and the world title shot like in the same week or the same TV taping a couple of weeks ago, right? So it feels like Darby is kind of owed a shot. And now if you're going to do this battle royal for another shot, I don't know when the winner will get this shot. I don't know if it's going to be a time and date of their choosing. We know it's not like a cash-in type of thing where you can just do it whenever, but they might be able to name their time and place. Might be a Dynamite main event, might be a pay-per-view. Don't really know, but I feel like the Casino Battle Royal winner won't win the championship when they get the title shot, because of what we're going to talk about later with Danielson and Swerve and their future and what could be going on there. I don't know if just some person that wins the Battle Royal would jump right in there and become champion. The only other person I could think of is maybe a Hangman Page, but I don't know if he has even been announced for this thing. But if Hangman is in the Battle Royal, I wouldn't mind seeing him win it because of all of his unfinished business still with Swerve, and Hangman winning would make sense. So I feel like I'm going to pick Hangman. He's currently not booked for the show at all. I don't really know who to pick other than a Hangman Page or perhaps a Bobby Lashley. So I feel like there's really no way to accurately predict this. As much as I want to predict Bobby Lashley showing up and winning this thing, what sense would that make given the current landscape of the AEW World Title division? They keep making contenders. They already got Darby with a shot waiting in the wings. Now you're going to have another contender, and I don't think Danielson and Swerve's issue is going to be totally finished after All In concludes, and then you have All Out. There's just a lot going on, so there's a lot to think about and a lot to consider when trying to pick a winner like this. So to me, it comes down to Ricochet or Lashley or Hangman, who I don't even think is announced for this thing yet. I'm going to go Hangman. I'm going to go Hangman Page to win this, because if Danielson wins, Hangman can face Danielson, and then Swerve can be involved in that or something. I feel like Hangman, I want Bobby. Bobby is who I want to see on Sunday. I want to see Bobby Lashley come out and win this thing, but I feel like I'm going to go Hangman in this match. It's annoying to predict this match because it's almost impossible to get right, but I'm going to go Hangman Page. Chris Jericho defending the FTW title against Hook. This will be Hook's final shot, I guess, at the FTW title. I'm really hoping Hook wins here. We did hear some reports several months ago that Hook might be exploring free agency when his contract is up. If that's still the case, then I don't know why you would put the FTW title back on Hook unless it's just to put it back with Taz, who did create that belt. And Hook could still maybe leave for WWE even after winning that thing if they just retire the title. But at some point, they have to get it off of Jericho. And if he's going to win here and prevent Hook from ever challenging for this thing, that means he's still going to be walking around there with that belt. And then who winds up taking it off of Jericho? They're going to book a Jericho and Taz match for Dynamite or something, and then Taz wins it back and chokes him out. A couple of old guys fighting, and that's when you retire the FTW title. That might be somewhat fun. I just don't think it's going to happen. But I'm still going to pick Hook. I think Hook will win this match and regain the FTW title, and maybe that will begin the process of retiring the title for good, unless Hook is going to continue to defend it. I feel like I got to go Hook in that match. We've got the Trios Championships on the line in a big four-way match. It's going to be the Patriarchy taking on the Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black and a mystery trio team that reportedly is supposed to be revealed on Collision. And Collision is being taped right now as I'm recording this, so I'm going to check real quick and see if we have any news on who this team is going to be. And the beauty of editing is you guys didn't have to just watch me look up online to see who that fourth team is going to be, and I did see who it's going to be, and you guys will find that out on Collision, and it's a little bit of a letdown. It's not a major surprise, and it's not going to affect who I'm going to pick in this match. So with the Trios Championships on the line, Patriarchy versus Bang Bang Gang versus House of Black versus the team you will learn on Collision. I would love to pick Bang Bang Gang here with a returning Jay White showing up to help out. I think that would receive a big, monstrous pop from the crowd, and that would be a lot of fun. I've warmed up to the Bang Bang Gang. I've warmed up to Juice Robinson and the Ass Boys. I like them all. They're all batshit, and I love that. And I think if Jay came out here and helped them regain the Trios titles after all of that nonsense with them being stripped of the 24 titles they're all carrying and all that stuff, to get them back might be fun. But then again, Christian and the Patriarchy just won those recently. So Christian is just doing marvelous work. I mean, my God, even when he's a referee, he's stealing the fucking show. So I'm going to go Patriarchy to retain. As much as I want to pick Bang Bang Gang with Jay White showing up and helping out, I'm going to go Patriarchy to retain the Trios championships. And let's talk about the tag match since we're on the subject of tag teams. This is a triple threat or a three-way, I should say, for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Young Bucks defending against FTR and the Acclaimed. You know, FTR and the Bucks have a very storied rivalry. Acclaimed have just really, specifically Max Caster, have just not really been doing it for me. He just seems like he's out there going through the motions. The rapping thing, I think, is starting to run its course. Now he's doing I'm the greatest wrestler in the world gimmick or whatever the hell that's about. And if I feel bad for anybody here, it's Anthony Bowens, who I really, really like. But the Acclaimed just feels like they've lost a lot of what they've had. And the tag team division in general in AEW is not what it was. And the Bucks winning these titles and forming the Elite, this heel unit just really hasn't hit. And it wasn't... it hasn't come off as well as I was hoping it would, and a lot of they haven't even defended the titles at all since winning them before, last week on Dynamite, you know, in a match that had just a really, really stupid finish, and we knew that was going to lead to a triple threat here. So I'm going to go Young Bucks to retain, even though I feel like they're very, very uninteresting right now in this current gimmick. Since it's a triple threat, I feel like the Acclaimed and FTR are going to almost cancel each other out, be focused on each other. That's going to allow the heel Bucks to take advantage and retain the championships here. And hopefully, you know, they will drop the belts to a formidable team in the near future. I just don't think it's going to be here at All In. It might be at All Out. We will have to see. Britt Baker challenging Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. This is a match on paper that I always considered to be a dream match when there was talk of Sasha, aka Mercedes, coming in to AEW. A match with Britt Baker was one of the first ones I had put on my wish list because Britt, I thought, was the cornerstone of the women's division. I've always liked Britt Baker, liked her in the ring, like her gimmick, like her presentation, like her music. I've liked everything about her. However, she has been developing this backstage reputation of being a little bit of a pain in the ass and not being able to get along with people. All that stuff with Thunder Rosa and the drama in the women's locker room there. Then she leaves for like a year, comes back, gets immediately suspended, you know, after that issue with MJF and whatnot. And if Britt was coming back after all that time off, under normal circumstances, I might consider her to win this match, even against Mercedes, even though I think Mercedes is there to hold that title at least for a little while and won't be dropping it yet. I would consider Britt Baker winning this match if it weren't for a lot of that other stuff. But I don't know how you can put the title on Britt Baker after she's already, you know, kind of ruffled some feathers backstage. Plus Mercedes is there. She has just debuted Camille as her heater. I just don't see her really losing that championship yet. It might be fun to get a nice program out of these girls. You know, if Britt and Mercedes take this thing into the wintertime or into the fall, and this is an issue that culminates with Britt Baker winning the TBS Championship maybe 2 pay-per-views from now, then I can see that happening. But for this match, I can't see Britt just coming in here and beating Mercedes, not after Mercedes is kind of new into the company. She just won the TBS title and she just debuted her bodyguard, and it's not really time to start working out a split between those two yet. Eventually Mercedes and Camille will do the MJF and Wardlow thing. You can see that coming a mile away, but they just, you know, formed this alliance. So I don't see it ending yet. I'm going to pick Mercedes, probably just with straight up help from Camille, to beat Britt Baker using some heel tactics to do so, which will likely lead to a return match down the road. Here's another one that's interesting. Jack Perry defending the TNT Championship against Darby Allin in a coffin match. Now, I don't know if you guys saw on social media how Jack Perry posted a video of him transforming the TNT Championship belt. I saw him holding it last week on Collision, but I just thought maybe he painted it or something, or ran it over with his car, or threw it in the dirt. This guy went through a whole process to repurpose and forge this new championship belt. He melted down metal, poured the metal over top, and then he sanded it down, and he painted it black, and he splashed paint on it, and he rubbed it in the dirt, and he made this really, really badass looking championship. I mean, he took the plates off the leather, did all that stuff to him, put it back on. He's got a welder's mask. He's sanding it. I never really took Jack Perry for a handy feller. He looked like somebody who would call maintenance to change a light bulb. I didn't think this guy could do shit. This made me relate to him more than anything Jack Perry has ever done. That little minute-and-a-half video was very, very cool, and cool to see him go through that process of transforming that championship. Now, I saw him on Collision last week holding the title, but I didn't realize what he had done. I thought he had just spray painted the thing, and then he released the video of how he did that, and it was awesome. So he's got this brand new TNT championship, which honestly looks like something Darby Allin would have done. Like, if Darby Allin wins the title, turning that belt into what Jack Perry did is something that would also fit Darby. So much like with MJF, I'm like, they just spent the time on, repurposing that American championship. Is he going to lose it that quick? Same thing here with Jack Perry, although the belt would perfectly fit Darby Allin as well. And of course, Darby was victorious last year in his coffin match at All In the tag with Sting. And Sting reportedly has been telling people that he is heading to London. So Sting, I think, is going to be at All In. Will he appear on camera? Maybe. He actually might. Could he appear in this match? He might. The only problem with that is I don't know if I want him to. I don't know what the point of Darby Allin winning the TNT championship is again. I feel like the belt right now benefits the character of Jack Perry more than it would Darby Allin. And Darby Allin is to the point now in AEW where he is a made man, made star, and he can afford losses. A loss will not damage him, bury him, hurt him, or anything, because the dude is just crazy, crazy over. And there's even been talks about giving him a run with the world title at some point, and he does currently have and is sitting on an AEW World Championship title shot. So to me, there's really no point for Darby Allin to win this here. I think Jack Perry needs to retain the title. Now, he's got the elite members. He's got Okada. He's got the Bucks. Maybe even somebody else could show up here and help him out. I don't think it would be Sting turning heel or anything like that. I doubt that would happen, where Sting would turn on Darby. That wouldn't make any sense. But if Sting were to appear in this match, then you would have to think that Darby Allin has to win. So if Sting is in London and he does appear at All In, I kind of hope that it's not during this match. He just comes out to do something in the ring, or maybe he joins Tony Khan to announce the attendance, or maybe announce the new Warner Brothers Discovery deal to the fans in All In. I hope he's there to do something like that, not get directly involved with Jack Perry and Darby Allin's match, because I think Jack Perry needs to win this match and keep the championship. So Jack Perry will probably have to get creative and come up with a way to beat Darby. But when Darby is sitting on a world championship match, this is a much easier match for Darby to lose. He can afford the loss a lot more than Jack Perry can. If Jack Perry loses this, he might arguably lose some momentum. Darby will not. So I'm picking Jack Perry to win the coffin match and retain the TNT championship. Maxwell Jacob Friedman defending his American championship against Will Ospreay. MJF, much like Jack Perry, just repurposed the international title to the American championship, and it's been pretty ironic and fun that MJF has been defending his American championship all over the world, including most recently in Mexico. And I love that the international title never really ventured overseas or outside of the country, and now that it's the American championship, which is really fun. And MJF did beat Ospreay for that championship. When I think about this match, I really can't see it going any other way than Ospreay winning. This has to be Ospreay's match to win. He did lose to MJF in the hour-long match. He could win the belt back here in front of this crowd. He beat Jericho at the same event last year, and Ospreay can really build up a solid run for himself at the All In pay-per-view, and I feel like he's got to beat MJF here. Ospreay, we know, is going to be a big part of the world title scene, down the road. And I think this is definitely a match he needs to win. So I'm going to predict Will Ospreay in a banger. I think him and MJF are going to tear it up. It's not going to go 60 minutes, but I think this is going to be a real good one. And Ospreay will beat MJF, win the American Championship, and hopefully they have the international title close by to where Ospreay can pull that out, throw the American title in the trash. Well, maybe he doesn't want to do that, but he could just chuck the American title in the trash or throw it back at MJF and celebrate with the international title. And then maybe MJF does a thing where he still walks around thinking he's the American champion. They might do the 2 belts thing here. God, I hope not. But they could. If MJF feels like he lost, or it was better yet, if MJF feels like it was rigged, and he can still walk around and call himself the champion. I hope they don't do that. We've got enough championships already as it is, and now we've got everybody making their own custom titles when they're winning belts. So I don't know if I want to see 2 dueling champions, but if they did that, that could lead to your blow-off rubber match, both belts on the line type of thing. But I don't even know the point of this American Championship outside of the context of MJF's run. So I'm going to pick Ospreay to beat MJF, but that's going to put these guys at 1 match apiece, and you got to think there's going to be a rubber match blow-off some point down the road, maybe even as early as All Out when they get back here to the States. But for this match in London, I'm going Will Ospreay. Toni Storm defending her AEW championship against Mariah May. Now, I wanted to wait and see what happened on Dynamite before I predicted this match, because Toni Storm was facing Saraya on Dynamite, as we know. But as we saw, Toni Storm beat Saraya on Dynamite, so that means, at least right now, no match for Saraya unless she comes out to the ring during All In with the microphone demanding a match, and that's where Hayter comes out. We could see that. But in terms of Toni Storm and Mariah May, if you're following this story the way you're following the movie, then Mariah May is supposed to win here. So I'm going to predict Mariah May to win the women's championship from Toni Storm. I am. I think that's what we have to do here. I'm hoping for some surprise, something fun. Obviously, this match could go beyond that. I really like Toni Storm's timeless character. She's even managed to make it fun as a babyface, and I wasn't thinking it could last very long in that way. But if Mariah May beats her here, Toni Storm is obviously going to be chasing the championship for a while, and this could be like a slow transition out of that gimmick back to the Toni Storm that we know with the thing under her eye and the hat or whatever. We could see her go back to that, but she's really, really good in this role. So even as a babyface, calling Saraya pasty tits or whatever she called her on Collision last week, I'm really liking Toni Storm. So Mariah May. I think I'm going to pick Mariah May to beat Toni Storm for the AEW Women's Championship, which leaves us with the main event. Swerve Strickland defending the AEW World Championship against Bryan Danielson. Career versus championship. They have been leaning in hard on Danielson and his family, wanting him to retire, and his neck and his injuries and how broken up and beaten down he is. Tony Khan ponied up and paid for Good Riddance by Green Day. I mean, they are really, really leaning in and laying on the emotion thick here for Danielson, who apparently his wife and kid are going to be in the front row to watch this. Swerve last week on Dynamite was very heel-ish, even though I don't think he's really turning heel. He's just being very swervish, because this is a guy that's not really afraid to break into somebody's home and stand over the crib of their newborn daughter if he has to. So I think he was reminding Danielson of how far he's willing to take things to not only protect his championship, but his legacy, and to retire Danielson. So with all of that they're doing, and again, Dynamite was last night. I did not read much spoilers in terms of what happened between Danielson and Swerve on Dynamite. I'm recording this right after they taped the show in Cardiff, so I don't know exactly what happened between these two on the show. I don't think it would really matter what they did on Dynamite in terms of swaying my decision either way, because I feel like it's only got to be one. I feel like it's got to be Bryan Danielson. I would love for Swerve to have this feather in his cap. I would love for Swerve to beat Danielson straight clean and retire his ass and, you know, have that accolade in his back pocket, like Brock ended the streak type of thing. And if Swerve is the one to end Danielson's career, I would love that for him. The problem is they're saying, you know, Danielson is saying that, you know, if I lose and I retire, I will stay retired. I will never come back. Well, you don't want to be saying that. I feel like they're making you believe so much, or trying to make you believe so much, that Danielson is going to be done, that he absolutely has to win here. But I'm going to go one further. Do you think it's possible that Danielson could turn heel? I only say this because there has been some subtle hints on TV, some t-shirt color choices that Danielson's made, and then last night on Dynamite, we saw him come out, and correct me if I'm wrong, feels like that was his eco-friendly type of outfit. Wasn't he wearing that type of stuff, the flannel? Well, I guess he was wearing that even when he was short-haired Daniel Bryan and retired. But it feels like what Danielson came out to on Dynamite last night was the same type of shit he wore when he was the eco-friendly champion in WWE. I almost think it's like the same outfit or something. So it just made me kind of wonder that if they could do some crazy Swerve, the only thing that gives me pause and makes me think that what I'm about to propose here isn't going to happen is WrestleMania 17. You know, WrestleMania 17, the crowd all about Austin, and then he turns heel and they kind of didn't know what to do. I'm not trying to confuse London. You know, I think if Danielson turns heel, you know, is it going to be that easy for them just to turn around and boo him after all this emotion they've been showing us on TV, and how Swerve has kind of been the one who's been the most heelish here, especially with what he did last week, house calling, you know, Danielson in the head, you know, after his match with Yuta and whatnot, and Swerve seems ruthless. So you're going to have to pull off the ultimate Swerve of all swerves here. What if you wanted to do, like, I guess I can't really say a double turn, but, you know, if Swerve is trying to be heelish going into this match, and then when you leave the match, Swerve is the face and Danielson is the heel, you could pull that off, you know, because Swerve is only taking a temporary detour away from being a babyface. He might just be ramping up the heel tendencies so this match will appear to be a double turn when it happens. And there's one name that I have to bring up. There's one name I have to mention because his name has been in the wrestling news a lot in the last couple of weeks. Shane McMahon. Just hypothetically, I mentioned WrestleMania 17, right? How the crowd, that probably wasn't the best audience to do an Austin heel turn in front of, because Austin and McMahon, you know, shaking hands, that should have been a crazy moment, but the fans were so overjoyed that Austin won, they were just cheering anyway. But what if, like, Shane O'Mac, who does have history with Bryan, right, comes out and helps Danielson win, and Danielson and Shane, like, shake hands or something? I don't know. That would just be fun. I'm not saying any of this is going to happen, so don't yell at me in the comments. I'm just giving you some hypotheticals here. Like, what if we saw this? What if we saw that? So I'm not ruling out Danielson turning heel and this whole thing kind of appearing to be like a double turn, even though it really won't be. Danielson coming out of this match as the heel, the cheating heel who won the title, and Swerve, who got swerved and got screwed, you know, is now out for revenge against Danielson. That could be fun, but what could also be fun is Danielson just straight up winning as a babyface and getting that WrestleMania 30 moment, only getting it in AEW in London. I think that, you know, Danielson's name being on AEW's title lineage and legacy and history absolutely needs to happen. especially with Danielson reportedly working right now without a wrestler contract, although he's still employed by AEW. And there's been a lot of talk about Danielson retiring into a backstage role in the company when he's done with his in-ring career. So if Danielson is going to be a big part of your company for the foreseeable future, you would want a Hall of Fame wrestler like that in your world title history and to have a world title run in your company. So I am predicting Bryan Danielson to defeat Swerve Strickland and win the AEW title. I'm not predicting him to turn heel. I'm not predicting Shane McMahon to come out and help him. I'm not predicting any sort of a crazy swerve. I'm just saying keep your eye out for it and don't rule it out. I mentioned, Danielson turning heel on social media. What? That's crazy. I'm like, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm just saying keep it in your mind in case that it does. You mean to tell me you wouldn't shit a live baby raccoon if Shane McMahon came out to the ring and helped Danielson win and they shook hands in the middle of an AEW ring? I would think that was incredibly fun and awesome. But I think what will be equally incredibly fun and awesome is Danielson winning the AEW championship. And if he does, that means he's not going to retire. Bree is going to be there. So is Birdie, and his son, I guess, is going to be all at ringside. He's going to have the nice family moment. You have to watch out for Swerve here in case he tries to get some revenge after the match and attack Danielson, or maybe gives a house call to Birdie. Can you be a good person but still kind of want Swerve to house call Birdie? Asking for a friend, a.k.a. me, because I want to know. I'd kind of like to see that. I'd like to see Swerve Strickland house call one of Danielson's kids. That would be hilarious. But I think there's a lot of potential for fun in this match. There's a potential for swerves, no pun intended. There's a potential for heel turns. There's a potential for a lot of craziness, but there's also a potential for just a straight up mano-a-mano battle with Danielson winning World Championship gold in the main event of a stadium show in London, England. So I think we have a lot of possibilities. All I know is I'm predicting Danielson to walk out as champion on Sunday. So there you go. Just to recap, in the 0 hour, Willow and Ishii over Stat and Stoke. I've got Hangman Page winning the Casino Battle Royal, even though I'm not even sure if he's in this thing. Other than Hangman, we could see Bobby Lashley winning it. That could be great. We could see Ricochet turning up. That could be great, but that's an impossible match to predict, so I think I'm just going to go Hangman Page to win the Casino Battle Royal. Hook to defeat Jericho to regain the FTW title. I've got the Patriarchy beating Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, and the Mystery Team to retain the Trios titles. I've got the Young Bucks defeating FTR and the Acclaim to retain the AEW Tag Team titles. I've got Mercedes Moné defeating Britt Baker to retain the TBS title. Jack Perry to defeat Darby Allin in the Coffin match to retain the TNT title. I've got Will Ospreay defeating MJF to win the American title or the International title, whatever you want to call it. I've got Mariah May defeating Toni Storm to become the new Women's AEW Champion, and Bryan Danielson to defeat Swerve Strickland to become the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. There you go. Let me know what you think of all of my predictions in the comments below. What do you think I have right? What do you think I have wrong? And if you want to give me your full predictions as well, feel free to stick them down there. That way we can compare notes when the show is over. I've done great on AEW pay-per-views lately. The last one was Forbidden Door that I got every single match correct. So we will see how I do here. I really don't think I'm going to go perfect on this one. This is a little bit more difficult, and we might even get an extra match stuck on there somewhere that we don't even know about yet. Either way, I'm looking forward to Sunday. It's going to be a blast. This coming Sunday, please join us. I have the review scheduled for about an hour after the show goes off the air. So just a little bit after All In concludes, we will be up here on Sunday afternoon for a long, detailed, thorough podcast and review on the whole show. I'm looking forward to it. But before then, we will be back here on Saturday as well for the podcast, and it's going to be a fun weekend of wrestling here on the channel. Thank you so much for watching these predictions, and I can't wait to be talking to y'all this weekend. Peace.